Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
All right, on today's episode, we've got a multitude of tantalizing topics to discuss.
Don't oversell it.
Man, I'm the overseller. Man, somebody's got to sell it. Anyway, since we were on about Evangelion last week, got me on a bit of an Anno tear. So we're gonna do a little quick review of the immortal Gunbuster.
Aim for the top, baby.
Aim for the top, baby. But before we do any of that, the news.
All right, got a lot of news stories. Had to cut some out, actually. Granted, they weren't that interesting. You'll survive without them.
Just the important shit.
First one, Lupin the Third Part 6, coming out in October. A lot of you probably knew that already, but hey, I'm excited. Lupin the Third Part 5 and
I can't wait.
Part 4 was pretty dope, too.
They just keep getting better.
I enjoyed them quite a bit.
Which is kind of amazing to keep something that old fresh.
Love it. The more interesting news here is that fucking your boy Mamoru Oshii is going to write an episode.
Holy shit.
Which Oshii does a lot of boring stuff, but when Oshii does wacky stuff,
oh man, super good.
He's usually really good, much like
Right.
Pat Labor. So I'm excited. I think that's going to be excellent.
Fucking crocodiles in the sewer.
Crocodiles in the sewers, or the ridiculous. It might even be the same episode. The ridiculous, I don't know, Nazi SS.
Yes, that was like that. The OVA
Search of everybody's lockers.
That was the OVA that finished it.
Yeah, that's like they had wrapped up the story, so they just did some wacky stuff.
Yeah,
I could say.
I don't know. Some people don't like it.
Anyway,
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
We'll talk about Pat Labor at some point because it's dope. Anyway, Lupin the Third, October 9th, and you're going to get a Mamoru Oshii episode. That's pretty damn cool.
I'm stoked.
In the least surprising news, perhaps ever, Yoko Kanno is going to be doing a theme song for a Macross Frontier theatrical film short.
You don't say.
Oh, Yoko Kanno doing Macross stuff?
Never.
Shocking. I know. It just makes me want to watch Macross
I don't
Plus.
even know how to feel about that.
Right. It's Macross Frontier, so I don't know. I mean, it's a short, so it probably won't be much will happen, but I'll check it out.
Frontier was really good.
I like Frontier.
I kind of want to rewatch it.
I'm hoping we'll get a real release soon now that Harmony Gold and Big West have seemed to have figured some shit out.
Thank God.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Only took 40 years.
We'll see. Anyway, moving on. More releases here. So in September, you're going to get some more Baki on Netflix. So if you're into Baki, get some more of that. I have not watched any of it yet. I hear the story's very good, but the art is vomitous.
They dial it back for the animated one. Fucking read the manga.
I shouldn't say that. It's Marmite, right? Like either you love it or you hate it.
Read the manga. The manga, the art is fucking horrific. It's just so creepy and weird. And the old OVA, the art is kind of the same.
Yeah.
But they cleaned it up a lot for the new one.
Anyway, that's coming out in September.
Fucking muscles on muscles.
September you
bro.
got some Baki. October you got some Lupin. I mean, looking pretty good so
I'd be
far.
stoked to keep trucking on Baki. I've been keeping up.
All right, so continuing on. So going on through September 5th, so a couple more days. Bandai is shilling their products, trying to make some more cash.
You don't say.
Doing a Gundam Online Expo. Lots of exclusive stuff on the Gundam store, including in the U.S. So I don't know what the international availability is, but I imagine U.S. and probably Japan have access to this.
I would assume so.
I took a look. It's a lot of, you like your master grade kits, clear plastic, or you like weird coding versions. Hey, knock yourself out. There's some cool stuff in there. But yeah, not generally my cup of tea. But hey, they got a lot of exclusive stuff available right now. You got another 4 days to get your hands on it. So go check it out. Actually, by the time you hear this, you'll have 2 days to check it out. So spend that cash.
Bandai needs your money.
Bandai doesn't really need your money, but they want
Bandai's
it.
like the GW of Japan.
Oh yeah, Bandai is most certainly the GW of Japan. I mean,
give me more money.
They want that money. All right, so continuing on, little video game news here, and I just have to say this because, my God, guess what's back, son? Beyond the Grave, Gungrave.
Oh fuck yeah,
Gungrave Gore.
Call him Beyond the Grave.
Gungrave Gore. Yeah, got announced coming out in 2022 for PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox, all the Xboxes,
Neo Geo,
PC,
Turbo
the
Graphics
Sega Mega
16.
Drive. No. It was originally going to come out in December 2019, but now it's coming out in 2022. So
yeah,
hey,
there's been a lot of that going around.
We'll see if it's any good. Whatever. I'm not holding out much hope. I saw Gungrave and I had to talk about it
because it's Beyond the Grave.
It's pretty classic, I gotta say.
God, that was so big in like not in the 90s. That was like early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah. Big thing.
I never got into it. Like it was too weird.
So some additional video game news. King of the Fighters 15.
Holy shit.
Coming out in February of 2022.
I'm in.
Again, same consoles. Your PlayStations, your Xbox of various types, and Windows.
Those are always fun.
Yeah, King of Fighters is cool. It's not. I want to love fighting games. I can never quite get myself there.
It's like a drunk Saturday afternoon thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you don't play them sober. That's ridiculous.
But
what's wrong with you?
I think I prefer something like Smash just because it's more lazy.
Yeah, it's true.
Or like some of those, the Naruto games that were 4-player, those are pretty good. Or, oh, God forbid they ever did another Godzilla-like monster melee or whatever.
We used to kill that game. That was so
a bomb.
Fun.
Until somebody plays Destroyer and is just an asshole and destroys everybody with that stupid freaking head laser.
Yes.
The head sword.
I was an Anguirus guy. Because you could just like fucking curl up and spin at people and you're just bowling ball at death.
Anguirus was pretty good, man. Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar.
Anyway,
Jaguar.
King of Fighters 15 coming out. I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy that. I'll probably check it out. I don't know how much I'll get into it, but I do love me some King of the Fighters, so can't really complain. All right, moving on to some different news, some industry news here. So the great, the legendary, the oldest, most depressed man at times, Yoshiyuki Tomino, says he's got 3 years left. That's it. 3 more years, and he's cutting it off.
3 more years, and Amuro and Char magically come back to life.
I mean, he's 79.
Damn.
So, we'll see. And I don't... G-Reco is, again, it's kind of Marmite. Love it or hate it. It's...
I want to watch the movies.
It's all right. Yeah, I'm curious to see those fourth...
I was not super...
Especially 4th and 5th when they do some different stuff.
As you well know, I was not super into the series, but I'll give it another shot.
I'll check them out.
I heard that they were going to add a bunch of stuff. I think we talked about that last week.
But regardless, you probably have about 3 years left until they either reboot Gundam or magically Char and Amuro are alive in some other series later on because Bandai wants that cash.
We've been saying that for, almost 20
years.
Just
waiting for Tomino to kick because they know, he will curse them. He'll probably curse them from beyond the grave, but...
whatever.
He likes killing off his characters, man. It's how Tomino rolls.
It's his thing.
Although, I don't know. He went back on that later in life. Look what he did with that reboot of Zeta.
Oh, yeah.
That, story-wise, I didn't have many issues with, but not great otherwise.
Nah, I was not into those movies. Just that weird, grainy, that is not how you make animation look old.
And they kept him away from the Hathaway films, so that's smart. But regardless, hey, we'll see. I'd love to see something new from Tomino, especially something he hasn't done before. I like King Gainer a lot, and that was probably the last truly original thing he did.
That's when he was he's very bipolar. That's when he was way up, because that's a wacky fun series.
Yeah, and that was after, he's kind of on an upswing, because that was after the disaster of Brain Powered, and then Turn A, which Turn A I liked.
We're going to do a whole fucking video on Brain Powered.
Oh, we got to talk about Brain Powered.
Just because it's so fucking monumentally bad.
It's one of those things where it doesn't matter what kind of super team you get together, it doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah. And we were talking about how Evangelion was basically a genre back then. That was Tomino's foray into
it was into that Ava style, and it just
because all the big directors back then had a hard on to
except he extra focused on the mommy issues.
Oh my god, so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we won't get too deep into it, but
yeah, we will, but not today. All right, moving on to some manga news. In Big Manga Comic, so collection. Magazine like they do in Japan.
Shonen Jump-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Go Nagai's going to be publishing something new. Oh, Uncle Go.
Oh, man, Uncle Go. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it could be 5 pages. I'll take it, man.
Demons and titties, man, 24/7.
There will be nothing politically correct about that, and there will be demons and titties everywhere.
That's why I love Uncle Go. He's been doing it since the fucking 70s.
Yeah, I really got to pick up what's out over here. I got to go do a little search. I know, like, I think Mazinger Z is out.
Oh, they've released a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Get a Robo might be out. There's a bunch of stuff that's come out. I know Devilman was, so I got to pick it up.
I'm Devilman.
Not that one. Not that one. And more news of people returning. Kazuo Umezu, so horror manga guy.
Yep.
Is back. 84 years old.
God damn.
He's going to do a new series debuting in January.
That's
So
hilarious. Why would you put yourself through that?
I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? You know how these things
I'm
work
sure they
in
don't,
Japan, right? Like,
I'm sure they don't whip him like they do, like,
who knows what he draws or whatever.
He's probably just like executive producer.
They don't whip him like all the other manga artists except for frickin' Oda, who's just like, I love One Piece. I will draw it until I die.
Yeah, right.
You want to talk about manga? Let's talk about manga. Like, dude,
He's too
out of
fast.
control.
The whip can't even keep up.
Yeah. He's like Bender in that episode.
Can't stop bending.
You're whipping, but you should be whipping harder. Anyway. More manga news. Continuing on that trend here. So Kaiju number 8, hearing a lot about that.
Yep.
Won a first place in the Next Manga Awards.
Sounds pretty cool.
I looked into it a little bit. It looks pretty cool, man. Guy like gets fused with like kaiju DNA and becomes like a giant monster. I mean, listen, it's a little Attack on Titan in that regard, but hey, I don't mind a little derivative stuff going on here.
Whatever.
And
Attack on Titan will be a genre now.
And Attack on Titan, how is that not just a derivation of Ultraman in some way, right? Like if you really want to go back, it's not all that different.
Everything's a riff on something. Like,
I said it before, it's all about the execution.
Unless you're pre like Jules Verne or Isaac Asimov. Like,
yeah, you're way back. Even
it.
then, you could probably keep going back and find all the influences.
Oh, yeah,
right?
like Greek shit,
Yeah, but anyway, it won an award. It looks pretty damn cool. I don't read a lot of manga, and that's my own fault. I'd love to check it out. I probably should. I'm sure it'll get an animation, and by then I will definitely check it out. So,
that's like
looking forward to that. The design is so cool. Yeah, looking forward to that too. Anyway, finally, we're going to end here with a couple more little bits of kind of cultural Japanese news. So, the first one is director of the Isekai that we had recommended this season, the Realist Hero, Rebuild the Kingdom director, Takashi Watanabe, was basically saying, hey, there's one studio's on lockdown because of a beer bug of unknown origin outbreak, right? And the industry said to keep it hush hush. And judging by the number of Seiyu and other people in the industry that have been getting the coof and announcing it, that's got to be true, right? Like Japan is just keeping a lid on it, but there definitely was a big outbreak. So they got their Delta Force invasion, and
Chuck Norris is coming for.
Luckily, so far, it seems like it's mostly younger breeds. It doesn't seem like it's a big issue yet, but let's hope it doesn't blow up into anything worse. And that's just Japan be Japan, right? They're gonna keep that shit under wraps, keep that lid on that. So, I just thought that was kind of interesting. When you see the news, and then he comes out and says, "Hey, yeah, there's been a bunch of outbreaks and shutdowns, but they're just not telling you about it." I believe the man.
There has definitely been a couple things that have skipped weeks.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
It certainly does. All right, so one more bit of news, and this one we can talk about a little more because this one's kind of funny. This is Japan being Japan. So the government has done an investigation, and 37% of businesses are allowing people to do illegal overtime.
Wasn't that nice?
So apparently there is a legal limit on the amount of overtime you can work in Japan. Who knew? It's apparently 720 hours per year and 100 hours a month. So if you work more than that, it's illegal, and the company gets fined, I guess. So they have an issue with that. Shocking that Japanese salaryman culture would result in lots of overtime. Now, I will say, I have heard anecdotally that a lot of that is just it's a lot of cultural issue, right? Like
it's a pretense.
Yeah, like they
just sleep at their desk and
they don't work super efficiently. They just work. It's like if you're the first one in before your boss, and then you can't leave till after your boss leaves, so you just end up working a ton of extra hours. But you don't necessarily have to be the busiest person while you're there.
Nah.
So it's kind of a weird, disgusting culture. Now, if they're getting paid for all those
Otherwise,
hours,
their economy would be way better.
I mean, they're salarymen, so I'm assuming they're getting actual salary, which means they don't get paid for those hours, and boy, does that suck. If they're getting paid for those hours, okay. I mean, as someone who would, who understands business a little bit, I'm pretty sure I would not be happy about my employees fleecing me for a bunch of overtime that they don't actually need to work.
Amount of overtime while they sleep at their desk.
Yeah, that they don't actually need to work. Like, no, it shouldn't work that way. But hey, it's Japan. They're going to do what they do. They're going to continue to do what they do, and they're probably going to continue to violate that rule all day, every day, no matter how many laws they put in place.
Forever.
Even if they made it criminal and took advantage of the ridiculous 99% conviction rate.
It's true. Don't get arrested in Japan.
You don't get forwarded to what would be not sentencing, but don't get forwarded to actual trial or actual court. You're screwed.
Fucked.
One, don't get arrested, but if you get arrested, you better pray they just let you go, because boy, do they have that high conviction rate, and they will do anything to keep it.
Well, and they arrest you and you can't get out. You're just stuck there till trial.
Yeah,
which is fucking bonkers.
It's not. Yeah, people don't talk about it a lot because everyone thinks Japan is a very, it's a very westernized country. It's not. Look, right now, Australia, New Zealand may be worse,
Way worse.
It's not like the U.S. or Canada or Great Britain or most of Europe, right? They have some serious issues there with their criminal justice system.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I got for the news today. So I think it's about time we roll on into our first topic here, which is the launch of Warhammer Plus.
Oh yeah, I get to talk about two things I like at one time.
Yeah. So
Animation and Warhams.
Yeah, we've watched. So it's a bunch of content, this hobby content and stuff. This is not a Warhammer hobby podcast. We're not going to talk about the hobby stuff. I haven't even watched the hobby stuff that's on there.
Painting tiny men.
Yeah, we're not a Warhammer lore podcast. There are excellent Warhammer lore podcasts. Go check them out. Go check out Luton 09. Go check out, I don't know, Adeptus Ridiculous. Go check out any of these other people, right, that do this stuff. Chapter Master Valorak, whoever, right? Like
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the animation portion.
Oculus Imperia. I got to talk about that guy because he's good. Go check them out. We're talking about the animation because we're here to talk about animation. So everything they got so far for fiction stuff on there is all animated. You got one show that's CG and one that's traditional animation, although it's kind of like Flash. So you got Hammer and Bolter.
Hammer and Bolter, think like the old Adult Swim stuff, like the Flash stuff. Like,
well, not that bad. No. Think kind of Metalocalypse, but it's better animated than Metalocalypse is.
That's because that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, fair. But it's a little janky.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's an anthology show. So that show is, there's 3 episodes out now. They're, 15, 20 minutes a piece. And they're all about different topics in the universe. It's a good show. Like, if you can find a way to watch it, because I know, it's $5 a month. I think it's a fantastic value if you are a Warhammer nerd anyway. I mean, just the mini they give you alone for the yearly subscription is worth it. And then you get all this other stuff. Plus, you get access to the app and stuff.
I was just going to say, the app comes with it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you
actually play
the game, I'm sorry. There's a lot of reading going on about it. If you actually play the game, it's a good value. If you don't,
because it's almost free. Like,
yeah, I'm not going to tell you should spend it to do it. Now, when more of it's out there, I'd certainly tell you pick it up for a month and binge watch it, because there's some cool stuff in here. And Hammer and Bolter is a good series to give you snippets of the series and snippets of the lore, so you can figure out whether it's something you like or not. The other series on there right now is Angels of Death. So it's about Space Marines, of course, the Blood Angels,
obviously,
space vampires, right? Not that they suck people's blood, but sometimes they do. Whatever. We won't get into that. It's not a Warhammer lore podcast.
Things go terribly wrong.
That one's CG, but it's got a really stylized CG where it's mostly black and white, but then red is the only color other than black and white that they have. It's pretty cool because the Blood Angel's armor is red. I know, shocking. Crimson, if you will.
If you will.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of cool effects they do with that. So let's start with Angels of Death. Let's go in reverse order here. So Angels of Death, what do you think? What are you thinking about Angels of Death?
I think the animation is actually really good so far. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's better than I expected it to be.
Like I said, The mouths are a little.
But you get that with all that.
But there's a
stuff.
lot of helmeted people, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, no, it's very shiny. I like the style with the only one color.
Yeah,
I mean,
that makes up
awesome.
for a lot, right? Like they're definitely using a lot of neat tricks to
definitely
make it look cool, but also saving themselves, time and money on animation.
Yeah. And I mean, as it gets bigger, I'm sure they'll get bigger budgets.
Oh,
and
sure.
the animation will get better. So
sure, like so if you have watched like Astartes on YouTube before they pulled it, and I'm sure you can still find it on there because people repost it. That had very smooth animation, right? That guy spent a lot of time on that. But I mean, the whole thing is maybe 15 minutes long, and it took years to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
This is coming out. Well, so far, it's an episode a week, and
Pretty
it's 15, 20 minutes an episode, and it looks really good. So you got, it's Warhammer, right? So it's space. It's space, religious fanatics in space, if you will,
basically
against the universe, right? So
against either other religious fanatics or aliens, and sometimes alien religious fanatics,
or demons, or
a lot of
what have you.
A lot of fanaticism.
It's a lot of mashup. There's a bit of Dune here. There's a bit of classic sci-fi here. There's a little bit of like 2000 AD comics here.
Definitely, yeah.
They pulled from a lot of sources, right?
Yes, they did.
Anything if not, it's not original in its elements, but it's definitely original in the mashup of those elements.
Oh, definitely.
So again, not here to give you the whole lowdown on 40K, but just talking about the animation here. So it's good. I agree with you. It's good. There's good action in it. They do a good job making the the Space Marines look big and stompy, and
it's hard to critique
terrifying.
it. Like, I'm kind of biased because I was really stoked on it. Like, we play the game all the time and it's fun, but I've always been more into the books and the lore and stuff. So to see stuff animated,
that's because you play Tau.
Yeah, fuck you.
And they go from hyper overpowered to total dog shit. They're never in between.
Whatever. I'm in a dog shit phase. Like, I'll get you when my codex comes out. Regardless. So it's really awesome to see, like, especially in not the Blood Angels one, the other one.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it's cool to see like stuff that you've read about for fucking 15 years, like animated.
Yeah, because like Angels of Death seems like it's just a straight up kind of original story.
Yeah.
It's not getting the lore. We'll get to Hammer and Bolter in a second because that one I think is the more interesting of the two shows. Angels of Death is just what you'd want to do, right? Like if you wanted to introduce somebody to Space Marines and 40K, it's a good show to do that. I still don't think Space Marines are the right introduction to 40K. I still think an Eisenhorn show with the Inquisitors.
Well, that's the live action one they're going to do.
Is the right, yeah, that's the right introduction. Well, yeah, we'll see if they do it. And hopefully they keep it all in-house because I'd rather see a cheap show in-house than see them farming out to Hollywood and fucking Eisenhorn be a black lesbian with a side shave.
Abnett says it's good so far.
So I don't have time with that. And besides, they could make Medea Betancourt a black lesbian with a side shave and I'd be less mad about it. Anyway.
Because she's already black.
And her sexuality is not ever known or talked about.
Or important.
Because it's not important because that's not what...
Because it's never important in any story.
Anyway.
Unless it's a story that's like romantic and...
Animation's good. Bolt guns make people explode. Gore everywhere. Good time. Story's shaping up good.
Crazy aliens.
It's good because it's a simple enough story that you can follow if you don't know anything about it. And it's just interesting. But it has a lot of like... Warhammer nerd fan service.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of the armor stuff. The guy with the Death Watch Paul.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that. Watching that last episode.
A lot of the little things on there.
Because there's like different. I mean, over the last 10,000 years, like in the lore, there's different iterations of the Space Marine armor, and they show like there's random guys who have just like
different pieces of it,
different crazy helmets, different pauldrons. So that's like super cool to see.
Yeah, they did a very good job there with again keeping it newbie friendly and also so people can introduce it to them because no newbie is just going to sign up for Warhammer Plus. It's not going to happen.
No.
Right. It's for people that already know about it, but that doesn't mean they're not going to show their friends and family and whoever, right? Like, hey, check this out because there's some cool animation here. So that's where I think it's going to spread.
Yeah, I think it's fun to watch even if you didn't know about it.
Yeah, they do a really good job on that. Anyway, move on to Hammer and Bolter because that to me is the more interesting of two shows because it's a quote unquote anthology series just because it's it's a different story each time.
And it's kind of like greatest hits from like the lore in general.
Yes.
And that's just fun. It's all like, books everybody's read, stuff everybody knows about.
Yeah,
if you
so
play
the first
game,
one we watched, which is the third episode, was the old Baelai one.
Which is awesome.
Which is space orcs, which are hilarious. Orcs are one of the best factions. They're basically soccer hooligans / Mad Max in space.
They're like every other kind of orcs, but in space.
Yeah, they're awesome. Regardless, them telling stories about old Baelai, who's a commissar, so he's human. He works for the Imperium. He's a commissar for the Imperium, which commissars are kind of hard asses in the military. The ones who keep you in line, keep the other soldiers in line.
Yeah, they make sure you don't defect or
turn into a demon or
turn
whatever
into a demon
else, right?
Or whatever.
But anyway, one of them just, he's legendary to the orcs because he killed an orc war boss. He took his claw and he attached it to his own arm that got cut off. He's got a freaking laser eye. Like, it's great.
Anyway, there's a series of books that's him and all his battles with the orcs and blah, 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 told from like his point of view. But this is from
the orc point of view.
Yeah, it's from the orcs' point of view, so it's really funny. I don't know, I liked it.
It's really funny. It's really good. Again, the animation it's bright, it's clean. I like the style a lot. It's a little janky, it's a little stilted.
Flash shows always get better the more
I don't know if it's Flash, but it's made similarly.
I think it's Flash.
Flash
looks really
Flash
nice.
isn't really a thing anymore.
Yeah, but
it's whatever the modern equivalent is.
Yeah, whatever the equivalent is. I mean, it's basically the same thing.
It's better animation than like early Metalocalypse. It might be close to late
anything
Metalocalypse.
is. Like cutouts are better than early Metalocalypse, basically.
I mean,
the only thing worse than that is like early South Park.
Or Aquatine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but no one has legs in Aquatine, so they just like bounce around.
Carl walks every now and again. Nobody can help it. So that's that one episode. There's 2 more episodes. There's one about the corruption of chaos, where there's this poor like librarian that just sits there counting books all day, and that's his job. But then he keeps getting tempted by this one book, and tempted, and then demons, because it's 40K and that's what they do.
When they tell you not to touch that book, you don't touch that fucking book.
It's a little slow, but it's a really cool episode. It's very Twilight Zone. Like,
yeah,
it could work as a Twilight Zone episode easily, or Outer Limits or whatever.
Yeah, it really was. Now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, it was excellent. And then the
last one was the
the Inquisitor one. Yeah, with the assassin.
Don't get cocky when you're an Inquisitor.
That one was cool. That was a cool episode. Yeah, that gave you a bunch of little bits of lore, so you learn about Inquisitors and their retinues and some of the politics that go on with Inquisitors. Then you learn about the assassins. So, yeah,
Inquisitors are really on the same side.
They're doing a good job of showing you all the different bits of.
Because there's so much
of 40K.
If you think Star Wars is a big universe, 40K is even bigger.
Like the Star Wars EU was very big, but 40K has more.
It's so massive
stuff.
There's so many factions, so many
books,
series,
and they're all excellent. Like like I said, if you like reading books and you're interested, buy anything by Dan Abnett. It's all good.
Oh God, yes.
But read Eisenhorn. Just start with the Eisenhorn trilogy. That's going to get you into it. And that's really going to give you the right introduction.
And then if you like that Gaunt's Ghost series, there's like 15 books, so you'll be entertained for some time.
It's all Abnett. Like, that's all good stuff. But regardless, Warhammer Plus, if you know someone who has access to it, I would say check it out. If you don't, I would say wait a little bit until more of the stuff is out.
Yeah, because there'll be like whole
and then pick it up for a month or two. Yeah, just binge it.
Yeah, just blast it.
Just binge through it, because who knows? And it will probably give sporadic updates on it, because there's a lot more stuff coming out. There's some non-40K stuff, some Sigmar stuff. I'm kind of interested in that, just because I don't really follow Age of Sigmar at all.
Much about Sigmar.
So it'll be interesting. So.
At the very worst, it's fun cartoons.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of good cartoons anymore, right? So
that's true.
And the one thing it certainly is not is woke. So you don't have to worry about that at all.
Nope.
There's a reason that GW has kept all this stuff in-house. And besides that one misstep last year with that one statement they put out, they have been pretty good about making sure that their lore is consistent and that they don't fall into that trap.
They're pretty good about shutting up and taking my money.
Well, they have no
need. Every other business should be doing.
They have no need to get woke, because it is a naturally diverse universe.
Yeah, you really don't have to fuck with it.
And every human, no matter what color or sexuality or whatever they are, hates aliens damn near equally because they're all xenophobic assholes.
All that stuff written prior to 2015. I mean, there's always female inquisitors, like, you know.
Oh, there's all kinds of cool stuff. Don't talk to me about people that want female space marines. That's dumb. We're not talking about that. That's as dumb as male Sisters of Battle. That's dumb.
I have a half-hour diatribe about why it's dumb, but I'm gonna
don't do it. Yeah, this is not the show for that. We won't get into it. But if you feel that way, sorry, but you're wrong.
You're just wrong.
Anyway,
it's wrong.
That's Warhammer Plus. That's what I gotta say about Warhammer Plus. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. Fun cartoons. And if you like Warhammer, don't bitch about it. It's like an extra $5. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, if you like it, check it out. I mean, if you don't want to pay for it right now, I get it. And you don't play the game, like I said, just wait till more of it's out and just binge it. Just pick it up for a month when more shit's out and binge it.
Precisely.
Or if you're really feeling like a pirate, you know what to do. You don't need me to tell you.
Give me that booty.
I ain't gonna recommend it. Anyway,
segue.
Excellent Flip Flossie reference, by the way.
Anyway,
we are here to lament something, sir.
I'm just gonna.
And it's not the lamentations of the women.
This is the last time I'm gonna talk about the live-action Cowboy Bebop.
Well, it's a gateway to a larger topic, but anyway,
it is. But that's like the main thing. Like after an entire week of people like gnashing their teeth and screaming about it, all I have to say is, what the fuck did you expect? It was never going to be good. Like so much performative outrage. It's like it was never going to be good. It didn't have a chance. It went into production at the absolute height of woke Hollywood madness.
Well,
like it was always going to be bad.
Even besides that, how was it ever going to be good to begin with?
That's what I mean.
How often do anime adaptations come out worth a damn?
One time.
Get me one other than Kenshin. There's probably one.
Fucking Alita, son.
Find one. Alita. You're right. You're right.
And that
was in production hell for like 20 damn years.
Oh yeah, James Cameron was popping off about that. And shit you know what? In the mid-90s.
I'll give you Ghost in the Shell because Ghost in the Shell wasn't half bad.
It was almost good. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but like it was almost like really good.
But those are big Hollywood productions. This is a Netflix thing. So how often did those turn out any good?
I don't know. Alita was so close to the source material, though. Thank you, James Cameron, for being a fucking autist for that shit.
Alita's how you do it right.
But yeah, it's like the only one that's like really like...
You got the spirit of it right.
The only Hollywood one. I mean, the Kenshin ones are amazing, but that's Japan.
Yes.
So.
Agreed.
But anyway, it was never going to be good. Like the second, like I remember years ago when they said they were like starting production, I'm like, it's just going to be black lesbians in space.
Well, but it's more than it just not being good. Like we could sit here and bitch all day about it not being good. Like who cares? We're not going to watch it. It's the pattern, right?
Yeah, this is the main point we're getting at. This like when it all shook out, like after the like, you know,
Hollywood actress being hypocritical.
Daniela Pineda like screaming about how the fans are shit and everything. Like, how many times have we seen this before? Like, it's exactly what happened with fucking He-Man like a month ago. You know, like Kevin Smith has been in a fucking death spiral for 10 years. So, I mean, he basically had to sell his soul just to like get any kind of work because like he only does 2 things and nobody cares anymore. So, I mean,
people would have been stoked about Clerks 3. Now they are not. He actually just shot himself right in the dick.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous. But I mean, it's happened like 20 times. Like She-Ra, the list goes on. And it's like the same exact fucking thing. Like, okay, we're going to take something that demographic X likes. Only demographic X. If you're not 40 years old, you don't give a fucking shit about He-Man, right?
Pretty much.
Or you're my mom when she was like, you know, cleaning the house, like walking by while I was watching it. But I mean, she
regardless, if you're 25, you don't give a fuck about He-Man for the most part.
So like, okay.
No offense to He-Man.
So we're going to do something that like is specifically for this demographic. We're going to tell these people that like, don't worry, we got it. This is going to be specifically for you guys. And then
I should correct myself a little bit. Sorry, I'm interrupting your flow, but I got to correct myself a little bit. There was that 2002 He-Man that a lot of people really liked. So no offense to you that like that because that is a whole nother generation of
I can't talk shit. I never saw it.
But it's a very specific...
I heard the story was really good, but the animation was not that good.
Regardless, you're right. There's a very specific demographic regardless. Please continue.
Anyway, so like basically they tell demographic X that they're going to make it exactly how they want it, and then they do the exact fucking opposite, and they make it for a demographic that does not exist. does not
Yep.
exist.
That certainly isn't going to buy their merchandise, which is the entire fucking point of making it in this case.
Exactly. Hasbro,
Not Cowboy
anyone
Bebop, but
like-
in He-Man's case.
And then there's the obvious demographic X backlash. And then the people that made it, like, are outraged. Like, they didn't see this coming. They're outraged for some reason. And then they start screaming at the fans and, like, calling the fans, like, not real fans, which is the most hypocritical, insane bullshit I've ever fucking heard in my life. But and then it's just, I honestly think like more people hate watched He-Man than actually watched it. And I really think that they're just doing that now.
So here's what it is, right? They have to inject a bunch of garbage in there, right? And some people do it because of agenda, right? Some people do it because they need to get their talking points in there, their whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Some people do it
because the studio tells them to, because they can't get a job anywhere else.
Well, but they do it because the studio tells them to, because the studio, and here's my second point, right? So there's two reasons it gets done. One is because there are actual fanatics that want shit in there.
Yeah.
They want their pet shit in there. I don't care what it is. LGBTQIA plus minus 45, whatever the heck that is. Frickin'
Alphabet Son.
Whatever that is, right? Climate change, whatever agenda they want in there. Like fuck capitalism or feminism or whatever. They want that agenda in there, right? Which that stuff has been injected in things forever, but with good writing, so
subtlety,
you don't mind it, right? And it makes you think about it, and it may actually convert somebody because they'll think about it and come to a conclusion rather than, oh wow, you're trying to tell me how to think. Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Raging with the Machine now, so it's fuck you. I'll do exactly what you tell me.
Zing.
So that's the one way, right? Actual fanatics. I think that's a smaller faction. I think the bigger faction is people that are just trying to get clout in studios doing the same thing, trying to get more hype, right? Like it's almost like there's no such thing as bad press. Like let me cause outrage.
That's exactly what I was saying before. More people hate watch it than really watch it. It's the same clicks, like,
and that's what made me think about it, right? Like it's just let me get more bad press because bad press is better than no press.
It's true,
and it leads you to the solution for how do you ignore it? Give it no air. Bitching about it, and we were guilty of that too, right? But bitching about it
last week
doesn't help. It should just be you don't even talk about it. You just ignore it.
Listen,
forever.
Last week was a quick mention. What I've heard, like the vitriol I've heard all week, it's like, come on, guys, you knew this was going to happen. Like, but you were always getting 35.
That's how the whole system is set up,
like,
right?
Frumpy, dumpy Faye. Like,
that's how the whole system's set up, right? Like, if you want to have a YouTube channel that just reviews dank anime, believe me, you don't get anywhere. If you want to just sit there and whine and bitch about pop culture stuff all day, you can get somewhere. And I'm not saying that doesn't have a niche, and I don't like a lot of those people that do that. I do. And I think it's necessary in some cases, but you get 15 channels that do the same exact thing, and it's like, okay, I don't need all these people telling me the exact same thing. It's not helping me, right? And it's all outrage. Like, what are you building? You get to that point. What are you building? You're not building anything. Like, are you? Some of them are, right? Are you doing a comic? Are you writing books? Are you doing something to build the culture back up? Because if you are, I love you, right? Like that's what you should be doing. Even if it's not the best stuff in the world, I don't care. That's what you should be doing.
Anyway, performative outrage is like out of hand.
Well, and that's back to the performative outrage.
But I mean, we are like. My main point is. No one expected it to be good. So, I mean, there comes a point where you have to just start ignoring it. Because, like, if they just keep getting rage clicks, they can live off rage. They can live off rage clicks forever. You're going to get shit forever.
Yep.
They're never going to reverse course. Like, and I think stuff is starting to reverse course. So, like,
actual viewership numbers are finally going down.
Yeah, don't give them any
helps.
juice, man. Like,
so, like, yeah, sure. If it gets buzz on the internet, that's going to send them the wrong signal. But if all it does is get buzz on the internet and then that does not translate into views, that's not going to translate into ad revenue, and it's not going to work. And for something like He-Man, when it doesn't translate into toy sales, you are fucked.
That's kind of their only jam.
You are fucked because Mattel owns the rights, and they're not going to be very happy when they're not getting money for toy sales because that's the whole point.
Well, you see how they rolled out that fucking CG He-Man, like, direct, like 5 minutes after the other one came out because they want one for kids for toy sales.
And that just looks like that's just not my thing, right? it didn't look like woke. It just looked like, let's just do Power Rangers, but with He-Man, right? Like
That's fine. It was for little kids.
that's fine. It's
I wasn't
kid
like
stuff.
offended by it.
I'm not offended by it. I mean, honestly, I'd rather just have kids watch original He-Man.
It was just
it's cool.
Definitely. It's streaming somewhere.
It is.
We were just watching
Hulu. It's on Hulu.
I think it was on Hulu.
Yeah.
But anyway, watch the original, man.
Yeah, but anyway.
The animation's terrible.
So what's all this leading to, right? Like performative outrage, all this shit. It's the death of escapism, right? There's certain people. So this goes back less to the people that are trying to create outrage to create money and create clicks, and more to the people that are the true fanatics, right? They don't want you to have an escape. They want you to endlessly be engaged in, honestly, politics and political causes.
That's like, I hate to get like super into it, but that is like one of the paradigms of Marxism.
It
like,
is.
There is no personal self. There's only the political self, and everything is politics.
There's nothing outside of the state, everything within the state, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, I mean,
so they just got to inject this shit into fucking everything. All I want to do is come home from work and watch fucking cartoons.
The last thing I
man.
want to do is get preached at, right?
Yeah.
Like you could have
I don't want a 2-hour sermon instead of a movie.
and it goes back to it's the death of meritocracy, which means there's no good writing, right?
Well,
when you set up a system,
these people are all hacks.
When you set up a system that allows people to cancel out, basically, when you set up a system that allows certain people who can utilize their demographics, their immutable characteristics, race, sex, whatever,
to push people
against people that are
talented
competent,
out.
exactly. They'll use it to push people that are competent out, and then they don't have any skill. They didn't work hard, right? Because there are naturally, quote unquote, diverse people in those industries already that are very talented, right? It's not about that. If you just let meritocracy take its course, it's going to take care of itself. It is, right? If you're truly letting it take hold, right? If
the numbers are
truly
actually
engaging in it.
like normal if you look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many Hispanics and African Americans in the country.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's still 68% white or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think it went down to like 62, but yes.
whatever. You get my point, though. It's like, you're only going to have a certain amount of these.
A lot of the industries were already very represented, if not overrepresented, and then they overreached. But again, they keep injecting these things, one, because they think it's going to get them clicks on one side. That's why they are allowed to do it. But there are fanatics in here that are doing it because they don't want you to relax. No relaxing.
Oh, that is absolutely true.
You need to think about it at all times. You need to be preached to at all times. It's religious programming at the end of the day.
They're just making people insane.
It's no better than Bible Man. It's way less interesting.
So true.
Right? It's way less funny anyway.
Oh, it's definitely a religion.
But that's, maybe we're getting a little too deep for this podcast, but that's the problem. They don't, a lot of this stuff is poor because of a combination of lack of talented people because they've been, pushed out of the industries, and a desire to push these things into culture, into media. And it's done for a reason, right? Because people don't think about this, but think about how the stuff you watched and read when you were a kid shaped you.
Oh, absolutely.
And how, okay, there was consumerism that was pushed down your throat when it's like, buy the cereal, buy the toys, buy all this stuff.
But every episode.
But they're always forced to put a PSA in there.
Yes, every episode of He-Man, G.I. Joe, whatever, it always had like a good, wholesome message.
In order to sell you those toys and sell you on the consumerism, they had to give you a side helping of some sort of morality.
Damn right.
Right?
Because they knew your mom was like vacuuming while you were watching it.
And looking back on it, there's a lot of solid lessons in there, right? Like they're pretty universal.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't know. It's the ride never ends, man. They don't want to let you off. They want to just keep browbeating you over the head as if, I just don't get it. Cause I think the thought behind it is, well, you'll convert and you'll just disconnect. And that's what's happening. People are just disconnecting. They just don't give a shit anymore about a lot of these franchises and a lot of these things. And they either disconnect entirely from the media in general. So, movies in general are down and Netflix is down in general, right? So they have that effect.
Oh, a lot of the streaming is.
Or they seek alternatives, right? Look at the comic book industry where it's like there's plenty of desire there still, but it's all the money's going to Japan and it's going to Indiegogo.
Pretty
right?
much, yeah.
That's where all of it's going. And indie comics in general, but mostly the Indiegogo stuff, right? Because Kickstarter shoots itself in its own dick, much like Kevin Smith, and boots people out, and they just hired another freaking, commissar to keep out anybody who's got wrongthink from their platform.
Which is dumb, because they don't like
Which
money,
Common
apparently.
America gets sold on there, so I don't know how the heck they got away with that, but good on them.
Yeah, I know. He was like the premier offender.
Right? Right? So, it's just interesting that...
I just want fun entertainment back.
Yeah, you're just not allowed. But it's coming back.
I don't even want to have to think about this shit. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about like the new awesome thing that's out.
And if you want to talk about it, the thing is, again, with good writing, you will talk about it naturally because there'll be some interesting puzzle there, or interesting conundrum, or interesting moral quandary that you want to discuss naturally. You're like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like, was that... was the hero really justified? Like, they really had to, most of the time it's like, they had to do what they do, but man, what a shitty decision to have to make. And how would you react? You think about these things, not just like, oh, hero man, good. Well, not hero man.
Good
hero woman, good. Like,
good entertainment is always thought-provoking. That's like kind of the point.
Yeah, it's not thought-provoking. It's just garbage. It's poorly written swill.
It's preachy trash.
Yeah, not good at all. So, escapism, they want to kill it.
It's almost dead.
But it's like the Phoenix.
Lucky for us,
it will rise from the ashes.
There are parallel structures.
Yeah,
like everybody who gets squeezed out of an industry that's like actually good at stuff will just start their own.
The hope is it doesn't come back as a zombie, right? Like an undead corpse. That it actually comes back as a reborn, strong, reborn anew. And I think that's happening. You're seeing it. You're seeing the pushback. You're seeing how. Again, Japan's getting all the money. Manga and anime is making the money because they're not pushing this garbage at all, and they still care about their
culture takes like 50 years.
It's gonna take time,
or like a generation at least. Like,
yeah,
you can't do it in a 5-year period.
This is switching a lot quicker, but you're right. I mean, it takes time because people don't realize. Like, well, a lot of people don't realize things get put into production years before they come out, right? Like. So you got to think about it. Like, if they're just getting the signals now that this shit really isn't working, it's going to take another couple of years to truly course correct.
That was 100% my Cowboy Bebop point. Like, it was basically in production, like, during when all the worst, shit was going on. So, like,
yeah, it would have no hope, right? Like, but, something that gets announced is starting development today, maybe it does have some hope.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe it doesn't.
I mean, you're going to get stuff that escapes somehow.
Yeah,
but you never know.
Well, look at Cobra Kai. Like, Cobra Kai is good, and that's because it's done independently. Not independently, but it's done. It's not a Netflix show, right? Like, it's on Netflix, but
Netflix just buys
Netflix
it.
Studio doesn't get a say ostensibly in it at all.
Filthy piggy
They don't get their paws on it, right, to woke it up. So, yeah. And they have good writers, so even if they do have to introduce some of that, it's not going to matter because they'll be able to weave it in properly.
Yeah, that's like 90%.
Actually, they already have, so.
It's true.
No complaints.
Anyway, it's time to get back on the Anno train.
It's time to get the bone train. Oh, sorry, the Anno train. Sure.
We get on any train you want. But I'm getting on the Anno train.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So we talk about Tapo Narai.
I got so amped up talking about Evangelion last week. I want to go deep. Back in the annals of
Gunbuster.
Back to the first thing he couldn't write a fucking ending for.
Well, in this one, his writing for the ending, I think, was fine. It was the execution wasn't great because I'm pretty sure Anno just throws all his money away.
It wasn't even the ending. That was like the 5th episode that was all like cardboard cutouts and shit. Because wasn't the actual ending like animated? Yeah, because when they come back down, it was animated.
No, so okay. Let's not talk about let's just get into the basics of Gunbuster. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
We'll get back to that. We'll get there. So anyway, Gunbuster. What the fuck is Gunbuster? One, Anno show. OVA, 6 episodes, about a half hour piece. They're a little less than a half hour piece. From the late 80s. I want to say it's 87 off the top of my head.
Yeah, but it's got science lessons.
It does have the science lessons that go with it. Great show. It's very interesting because it starts off with it's the near future.
It's very proto-Evangelion.
Yeah, it's got some of those elements, but I mean, it's got a lot of those elements because they're all ripped off from old Super Robot stuff anyway.
Yeah,
so that's
I'm
what
just
it is.
saying, like,
So it starts off in a school where they're training pilots. I don't think it's an all-girls school, but it looks like it's a mostly girls school.
that school is pretty. I mean, when they get into space, there's definitely male pilots, but I don't see any.
I didn't see any at the school. I think there might have been some, but regardless, doesn't matter. A mostly or all-girls school in Japan, in Okinawa. They're training pilots because they're gonna have to go fight this alien bug menace. So 15 years ago, the main character Noriko, her father encountered them out on the edge of the solar system, and they're worried that these space bugs are going to kill all humanity, blow up our star. Who knows, right? They do something terrible.
They're total assholes.
So they're figuring out how to deal with them. And it's not the main character, like I said, Noriko. She's in this all girls school, and she's kind of a klutz. She's not really awesome at anything. She's not naturally talented at anything.
Nah.
But the one thing she has is hard work and guts.
She has gutso.
Right. So she's got that X factor, which you don't see because she cries a lot. She even yells at herself for crying too much later. So this is one of those interesting situations where the main character, she's a fucking boss. And she's hard as fucking nails. Who cares if she cries all the time? That chick is hard as nails.
Noriko is manlier than 90% of like the men in like the main character dudes in series nowadays.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely. I mean, she's ridiculous.
she's
So
hard as
anyway,
fuck.
she's trying to learn. So that they have these trainer robots, and she's getting picked on by other girls at the school. And
This is like the whole first episode is nothing but mean girls.
Yeah, it's basically just mean girls. And then you got Kochi, one of everybody's favorite characters, Coach Oda.
Kochi's such a boss.
Who was he was an officer. I think he was an officer, but he was on the ship with Noriko's father that got all screwed up, half blown up when it attacked the bugs.
Yeah.
Or when the bugs attacked out on the edge of the solar system. But he got out on a lifeboat, and Noriko's father was presumed dead, but he's caught on that ship. And a lot of the series deals with time dilation. So as you approach the speed of light, time slows down for you, right? So you experience time more slowly. So if you're going almost the speed of light, you might experience a minute going by and a year might go by outside of where
Depending
you're at.
on how close you are to the speed of light.
Yeah, and it's less if it's less, right? Like, so it could be, you spend an hour for you might be like a year on the outside, or an hour might be a month, or whatever, right? There's different ratios depending on how close to the speed of light you're getting. So they have warp technology here, which the warp technology is implied later comes from the bugs. They stole it from the bugs.
Yeah.
So you can warp,
Classic trope.
right? Or you're traveling closer to the, you're just traveling close to the speed of light because you need to get places where you can't warp, and it's what they used before they could warp. So before they fought the bugs, right? So anyway, that comes into play later because there's a lot of time shenanigans that go on, and not going back in time, but a lot of like, I go on a mission and I spend 6 months in space, and now 10 years have passed on Earth. Like, oh Jesus!
Or they have to like go close to the speed of light to like catch up to the bugs and fight them or whatever, and then like they're on a 10-minute mission and like 6 months pass.
Yeah.
like,
So
when they get back to the fleet,
anyway, Noriko, it goes through the whole thing, right? Like, she worked through hard work. She gets better at piloting.
classic hero's journey.
And classic hero's journey. She keeps getting setback after setback after setback. Like, every step is that much harder, and she works her ass off, but man, it's just difficult, and she just can't quite get it, and she can't quite get there. Right? So she just has to keep grinding, and Coach Oda is awesome because he sees something in her. Like, it's not just because her old man saved him, right, from that ship. He sees something in her. He sees that ability to grind, right? And it's important. He even says it early on. And this is the most anti-woke message. There's another girl. Is it Kazumi?
Yeah.
She's like the super pretty one who's naturally talented at everything. But then Kochi says, well, don't think it's all just talent. And he shows that she she's running upstairs with these like ridiculous weighted like clogs on.
Yeah.
Because
Bitch works.
Yeah, because he's like, she works her ass off. He's showing Noriko that it's not just natural talent. You got to work your ass off. It's a very good message for people to have.
Damn right.
That if you want to get somewhere and you want to be good at things, you have to work your ass off at
grind,
them.
man.
Very good message there. So Anyway, they get up into space to go after the bugs on the Exilian, this giant ship. And they had these pretty small robots to fight these bugs. They're maybe, I don't know, 4 meters tall, like scope dog sized, maybe a little smaller or a little bigger. I don't know. They're not huge, right? Like
scope dogs are tiny. It's a little bit bigger.
Probably a little bigger than a scope, but regardless, they're not huge. Not that if you don't know what a scope dog is, good God, go watch Votom's Blu-ray set's real cheap. It's awesome. Check it out. And I think it's also streaming on High Dive. Regardless, yes. Gunbuster. They go out in space and they have to go. One of the first missions they do is they go find the actual piece of the ship that her father would still theoretically be on if he's still alive. And it's only like, what was it, 10 minutes? Or no, it's 36 hours or 72 hours. Yeah, it was 72 hours.
Or something.
Yeah, it was a couple days from when the initial attack occurred because it's moving so fast.
So he could still be alive.
So he could theoretically still be. In this mission, they have 10 minutes, but 6 months are going to pass on the outside, and they go a little bit over, and more than 6 months pass.
Yeah.
And her father is gone. Like the whole bow of the ship where he would have been is destroyed. So she gets a little bit of closure there, but it's it sucks, and she's real sad about it. And she gets back, and people don't understand like. Why is she so broken up? It's like that was seconds ago for her, minutes. Like
like they literally finished the mission, then they have to go into this big like party.
Yeah, celebration because they're all like, going to be
that shit's still raw,
leaving on the ship. So they go out into space in the Exelian and they go to fight the bugs. And Noriko finds a new friend in space because she kind of falls out with Cosme. She's a
man friend.
Yeah, Smithu. So it's cool because there's not like a one world government thing going on. There's mecha from, all the different countries. They're the same mecha. They all look the same. They just have different colors.
Yeah.
Different, symbols on them and stuff, different flags, whatever. So anyway, she becomes Smith's partner just for fighting purposes, not for any other purposes. And then
there's no romance here.
Not really. I mean, there's some hints there, but they go out into space and like, he's gone.
Smoked.
He's gone. Like they get their asses kicked when they are out in space.
Bugs are too fast,
first
man.
Time. They're just, there's not much hope.
They get fucked up.
They just get their ass kicked, right? So they regroup. Noriko's all broken up. Oh, it's terrible. She's a mess again. So Kochi says, all right, fine. I'm going to start training you again. He starts training her in secret on a new piloting system. So the regular robots are piloted with like, your typical twin sticks and some levers and paddles and whatever.
Twist those knobs.
She gets put into a pilot system that's you kind of, you're not really sitting in it, you're standing up almost like
it's more haptic.
What the hell are those things called? The gyroscope things they can spin you around on where you get strapped into the damn things.
Oh yeah,
like
the ones they train
things.
astronauts on.
Yeah. But basically, you have your arms out and it's almost like VR, right? Like you can move the robot like it's
with
you,
with
your arms and your legs and everything. And it's it's the titular robot, right? Gunbuster, because they see the head. And it's this thing is fucking enormous. It's like 300 meters tall or something. It's huge.
It's so good.
It's ridiculous. So this show that's kind of like a regular robot mecha show.
Yeah, it's got a very
super robot.
It's got a very like real robot Gundam feel, and then it switches to like ridiculous, like off the chain super robot.
All of a sudden, it's
bullshit.
like, oh, this turned into Voltes V or something.
Right.
Like, what the hell is going on here?
Fucking Daiton.
So anyway, she's getting this training. The other girls she's hanging out with, because Kazumi and Jung Freud, whatever her name is.
Jung Freud,
yeah. They're actually all pretty cool. Like they turn, they have their spats, but they're young girls. Like,
it's very accurate. There's like all kind of mean girls.
There's a lot of mean girl shit going on.
Everybody has a crush on Kochi. Like they're all fighting over.
They get over it. Anyway, the ship's getting its ass kicked, and there's like one giant robot. I think their whole fleet gets destroyed.
Just about.
And there's one of these giant space bugs left, and you got to take it out, because if you don't, everybody's gonna die, right?
It wasn't that there was one left. It was that there was the like main one left.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to imply. There was tons of little ones left, but the one like big, like mama bug.
It was the mothership basically,
and it's fucking. It's enormous. It's huge ship sized, right?
It makes Gunbuster
kilometers
tiny.
long. Yeah. So she just launches in the goddamn Gunbuster without permission, because of course she got that hot blood. And it's One of the best scenes you'll ever see in anime, where fucking Gunbuster comes up. You see it in the opening of this show if you watch it on YouTube.
That's one of my favorites.
Comes up, arms crossed, out of the ship. It's so badass. It's so good. And then starts doing ridiculous super robot attacks, yelling attack names out. Like,
it's so fucking
it's
good.
fucking great.
I love it.
Super Nazma kicking everything. Like, it's good shit.
And she's got Smithu's headband on.
Yes.
Which is fucking epic.
And then, it progresses from there. I won't get into spoilers for the ending. They do some crazy shit near the end where you're like, I don't think that's cool, but all right. I mean, I guess you might fuck up the whole solar system, but hey, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about what did you like about Gunbuster?
You should make bombs out of planets.
Yeah. Thanks.
What I like about Gunbuster, fucking everything. Anno just like, say what you want about him, his like budgetary issues. He can just craft a scene.
He's an excellent director.
Like that fucking scene where they introduce Kochi.
Yep.
And he like, I can't not call him Kochi.
How can anyone look cool on a Super Cub?
Yeah, he rolls up. He's like on his Super Cub and he's got his fucking aviators on. They like glinting in the sun. And he's like pointing at stuff and yelling. Like so fucking good. Like that man looks boss on a goddamn moped. Like fucking epic.
Yeah.
So I mean, just that stuff. Like, oh man, he gets like all the hot-blooded super robot stuff right. It's just so good. My biggest thing with Gunbuster is the absolute ridiculous scale of everything.
Oh yeah.
Like robots giant. Like everything's just massive. Like the time frames that are like
the bug
dealt
fleet,
with, like the bug fleet.
That they have to deal with. I don't remember if it's the one it's not the one at the end. It's the one right before the end. It's 80 AUs. Yeah. So 80 astronomical units. For anyone out there that doesn't know, one astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
Yeah.
It's 80 times that.
Yeah, fucking ridiculous.
It's bigger in distance than this fucking solar system is. Well, depending on how much of the outer solar system you count, but regardless, it's bigger than the orbit of Pluto. It's freaking nuts.
It's fucking wild.
And it's just covered with space bugs.
Yeah. And then, like, they're dealing in, like, if I fight this too long, it's going to be, like, thousands of years later that I come back to Earth and shit. Like, it's just wild.
Yeah. Once they get into some of the speed stuff, it's a problem.
It's like, oh, yeah, if I'm here for more than, like, a minute, it's going to be, like, years before I get back.
There's a 15-year time jump for some of the characters between the 5th and 6th episode.
Yeah. And for Noriko, it's, like, 2 days.
Yeah. It's 6 months. It's, like, almost nothing.
Whatever, yeah.
It's crazy. So it's got a little bit of that Forever War thing going on, right, with the time dilation going on.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. I mean, the designs are fucking amazing. The animation is amazing, except we'll get to the exception.
Yeah. No, it's just really good. It's very inventive. It's like it was very new at the time. Like just a new concept, like all the crazy like time dilation shit and stuff. Yeah. It's just good, man. It's just a fucking great series.
Excellent. It's not all that long, 6 episodes.
Yeah, and they're short episodes.
It's got a sequel, which is very divisive, but I happen to like, and we will take a look at that one next week.
Yeah, we're gonna get down on it next week.
Before that,
like it or not.
let's talk about the one thing we could probably both agree on, that is the not the downfall of Gunbuster, because it's still good.
The elephant in the room.
It's still excellent, but the one thing I could shit on Gunbuster for.
Basically the same thing he did in Evangelion.
It's not as bad as that, but yes.
Episode 5. I think it's episode 5.
Episode 5 is awesome. No,
sure?
Episode 5 is great. You're thinking of the beginning of episode 6 versus the end of episode 6.
Oh, okay.
All of episode 6 is black and white. So to start out, they do it black and white.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And you could go, okay, that's a style choice. And you know what? I wouldn't complain about a style choice.
Yeah, I thought he was just being artsy the first time I watched it.
I think he actually ran out of money. Because then the epic...
Oh, he definitely ran out of money.
Oh, yeah. The epic final battle against the big fleet. So they go to fight the biggest, the final giant fleet of bugs.
Yes, it's the final epic battle.
Ooh, it's the final epic battle. I hope you like drawings of cool battles.
I hope you like crayon.
That's all you get.
Crayon.
They're not crayon. They're at least manga panels this time. But I mean, it's basically
there's
like
a couple that are fucking crayon.
They're not crayon. Yeah, that bad.
Scribble.
It's basically.
It's stills.
I drew 10 pages of a manga and put that up instead of fucking animating anything.
You get 0 final battle. It's very.
And then you see the fallout from the final battle, but did not bother to animate the final. And then the shit you see Gunbuster doing in those manga panels.
It's troll because it's so amazing.
will make you very unhappy.
He's got like an axe. He's got a cloak. He's got a giant baseball bat. Like, it's fucking amazing.
It's like, what the fuck?
Why can't I have it?
What the fuck? So it's annoying. Now, is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. But it's fucking obnoxious.
The first time I watched it, I was enraged.
Yes.
But then the second time I watched it, I knew what I was getting into, and I was like, whatever.
There's so much good to like that it doesn't overcome everything else. Not even close. It's still definitely worth it. But fucking goddamn it! Like, I wish they could actually mimic the animation from the time. They probably could if they spent enough money.
I would
just
love
animate it properly.
I would love for them to just do like a movie of the last episode. Oh God, that would make my day.
Just something, for the love of God.
I could
It
die
just
happy.
needs to be.
Now that
animated.
Evangelion's done proper, if I got like the last episode of Gunbuster done proper, I just blow my brains out. I'm done.
He could even reboot the whole thing, and I would be fine with it. Because early on, it doesn't need to be rebooted, but like you could condense some of the stuff early on. It would be fine.
That animation, I love that style so much. I would hate to like see it redone.
I agree. I'm not advocating for it, but fuck Anno. Like, why do you have to run out of money? Like,
I'm sure he always just has grandiose aspirations.
That
and
last
never has the
episode,
budget.
God damn it.
God, it would have been so good.
Anyway,
That's the only bitch, though,
it's
honestly.
the only bitch. The ending is pretty satisfying.
And if you like Evangelion, fucking definitely watch it. Like, definitely. I mean, it's not even hard to find.
If you like mecha anime at all, you
The
damn well
DVD's
better
out
watch
there.
it.
I don't know if the Blu-ray is over here yet.
I don't think so.
But anyway, the DVD's out there. I mean,
I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. High Dive had some of the stuff, but I don't know if it had the original series. There's some movies, like compilation movies. I don't know. I honestly don't. Maybe they have some new animation. I don't know. I have not watched the compilation movies.
Them, but yeah.
I never heard anybody pop off about them, so I assume they did not. But yeah, that's Gunbuster.
It's a legendary classic.
It's legendary. You gotta watch it.
You're
I mean,
doing
it's
yourself
fantastic.
a disservice if you don't watch it.
Even with the
Because it
shitty
is like the
stand.
predecessor to like a lot of modern
And
stuff.
I will say, I would prefer an ending like that, where I get a little pissed off because of the way they animated it, or lack of animation. But the story is good.
The actual ending wrapped up fine. It wasn't like Evangelion where they like leave you hanging with weirdness.
I would prefer that over. Well, that's like the double deuce, right? I would prefer that over an ending that's well animated but is shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So I mean,
Like the ending of Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I know this might be heretical and some of you won't like this, but the ending of Iron-Blooded Orphans, animated great. It was shit. The story was shit. I hated
so
it.
nihilistic. Like I was so bummed out, man.
Anyway, that's Gunbuster. Next week, we'll take a look at Diebuster. Gunbuster 2.
Everybody's favorite whipping boy.
What happens when you turn Gunbuster into Fooly Cooly?
It's pretty wild.
I really like Diebuster, but you know what? I haven't watched it in years, so we will see.
I just remember your stepbrother being super fucking pissed off.
Yeah, that made me like it more. So it is what it is.
Right. Spite. So we'll have to watch it again to see if it still holds up. Anyway, remember, kids, 99% of life is what you make of it. So chances are, if your life sucks, you suck.
Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.